Hi, Ashley. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. I just want to thank you for coming back in. I know that therapy isn't something that you wanted to do, but you're here, and I appreciate that. So I want to kind of start off today by explaining and kind of setting the agenda for today and our future sessions because today and our following sessions are going to be different than last week. Last week was kind of just your evaluation or your assessment, if you will, so we can kind of figure out what all was, so we could assess what all was going on that brought you to our agency. Um, so we're going to kind of set the agenda and find some things that you want to address during therapy, um, and just kind of go from there and work on those things. Um, what are some things that you would want to? Is there anything that you would want to talk about with me today?
Well, I am really having a difficult time whenever I hear thunder or lightning or it begins to storm outside. I almost become paralyzed and can't really function.
Okay.
And then, of course, when that happens, I'm not sleeping. And I'm scared to leave my house, but I'm also scared to be at my house because of what I experienced going through the hurricanes that destroyed so much of the town I live in.
Okay. Now, if you see me writing a lot, I'm not trying to read. I'm just trying to take notes of everything so I don't forget all the important stuff that you tell me, so I can make sure that I remember everything.
Okay.
So it sounds like you would want your feelings around storms. That's something you'd want on the agenda.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then you said sleeping. Your
Well,
sleeping
I can't
difficulties.
sleep when it's storming because I'm scared that something bad will happen.
Okay.
So whenever it storms, I just can't function.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay. So I'll add that to our agenda today. Um, and another thing that we're going to do that I'm going to add to our agenda for our sake is we're going to do a quick mood check to
Okay.
get us started. Um, you did some forms before you came in today to kind of tell us how your week's been going. So while I review those, why don't you tell me in a couple sentences how your week's been and how are you feeling today?
Well, I was okay Monday and Tuesday because there weren't any storms. But then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had storms and some thunder and lightning, and it really caused me to have really bad anxiety. And I was afraid to leave my house, so I ended up missing work and missing other commitments with friends.
Okay. So we didn't have any storms Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday through Friday, it sounds like you had a rough time.
I did, yes.
Okay. So how are you feeling today?
Um, Today, I'm just nervous about being here because I'm afraid that if it starts storming while I am here, I won't be able to safely make it home, or I'll actually have to go out in the storms. So I have a lot of anxiety just being here today.
Okay. So you're just really nervous today. Um, well, luckily I checked the weather before I came to the office today, and there's a 0% chance of storms happening, so
Well,
we should be fine.
that's helpful to know.
Yes. So as you know, last week you had your evaluation, and um, so we would be able to figure out what all issues you had going on in life. That way, we knew what to address. Um, and we gave you a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that before, post-traumatic stress?
I've heard about it like with veterans who've been at war, but I've never been to war.
Right. Well, anyone can have post-traumatic stress or PTSD. We can call it that. That way, we don't get tongue-tied or anything like that. But um, anyone can have PTSD if they've been through a traumatic event like you have. It sounds like you've had a pretty traumatic event because it says in your evaluation that when you had a storm, when you went through the storm last year, the hurricane, that you all lost everything, your house,
Yeah.
all your belongings for the most part. I mean, that's pretty traumatic, if I say so myself. Um, so while we're here in therapy, we're going to just kind of address the post-traumatic symptoms and the PTSD symptoms to kind of help you get back to what your normal was before the storm.
I would really like that.
Okay. Um, so you've told me that the problems you've had since the storm was that you've been having problems sleeping, and in any storms that you're scared to be home alone because you're afraid that the the storm will happen while you're home alone, and that storms just trigger you all together. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. So here at my office and at our agency here, we do what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Have you ever heard of that before?
No, I don't think I've heard of that before.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of give you a brief description of what CBT is. I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you this nice little diagram here.
Okay.
So pretty much CBT, it's all kind of are about cognitions, or our thoughts, if you will. Because you see in the diagram, our thoughts kind of they control our behavior and our emotions. And the same with our emotions. Our emotions can control our thoughts and our behaviors can control our emotions and our thoughts. So if we can tackle our thoughts and fix those and get those in the right direction where we need them to be, then we can improve our behaviors and we can improve our emotions to how we want them to be. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. And I'll give you this diagram to take home with you, and you can review it. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to let me know. So back to the problems. You had mentioned, just being afraid of storms, and you have trouble sleeping, and being scared at home alone. Which one of those three things are probably the most important thing that you would want to discuss today?
The being scared of the storms.
Okay.
I feel like if I wasn't so scared of storms, then the other things might not be a problem for me.
Okay, so being scared of the storms is one thing that you want to talk about today. Okay, and what exactly, talk to me about how do you feel when a storm comes?
Terrified.
Okay, so what are some things that you do when a storm is happening?
I go to my room and I lay on the bed and I just cover up and try to block out the sound.
Okay. So you just try to run away from the storm, so to speak, and hide from the storm.
Yes.
Okay.
But then I get to thinking while I'm in there that I'm not safe because there's a window in my bedroom, and so if the storm got really bad, it might break the glass in my bedroom, and then I might not be safe. So I just have a hard time finding somewhere where I feel safe.
Okay. So when the hurricane happened last year, that was in Louisiana, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you've since moved here to Tennessee. So obviously we don't have hurricanes here in Tennessee. That's one good thing, right? Do you I know when like a thunderstorm happens, you're afraid that the hurricane weather is going to happen again. But do you know intellectually that we don't have hurricanes here, even though you're afraid a hurricane's going to happen to you again?
I know that that's true, but I always think in the back of my mind that, well, anything could happen.
Okay.
So I know that that's not happened here before, but I know that it could maybe happen.
Okay. So your mind tells you that we don't have hurricanes here and those things, that type of severe type hurricane weather can't happen, but your emotions kind of get the best of you, and especially when you hear that clap of thunder and whatnot.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So what would you say some things are that could help you cope with that stress, that anxiety when the storm comes? Is there anything that calms you down during storms?
If I sometimes watch TV,
Okay.
it'll calm me down because I kind of lose my focus on the storms for a little bit.
What do you usually watch on TV to help you lose your focus?
Um, it really doesn't matter anything. I just like to watch TV. I mean, I like to watch TV in general. So anything, but of course, I don't like to watch the local channels because then they have the weather alerts that come on,
Hmm.
and that really scares me. So I try to watch, like Lifetime Movie Network or HGTV or something like that because they don't have those warnings.
Okay. All right. So you pretty much try to avoid all weather and news outlets altogether.
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you this: would it make you feel better if you turned on the news the first thing when you woke up in the morning just to check the weather to ensure, hey, it's going to be sunny or partly cloudy today and 0% chance of rain or thunder or whatever? Do you think that would ease your mind a little bit? Kind of like
Well,
when I'm.
yeah, I have the weather app on my phone, so that would probably be a really good idea
Okay.
to check that in the morning so I could already kind of gauge if I'm going to have a bad day or not.
Yeah, because I know when I mentioned today that there's 0% chance of rain, you were very relieved by that.
Yes.
So one part of CBT is we have homework each week, and we can discuss. I'll kind of give you a homework assignment that you do during the week, and then we discuss it when you come back. Um, so would checking the weather in the morning or checking that weather app um, in the morning just to know whether or not a storm's coming. That way you're not living in fear that day. Would that be something you could possibly do as homework?
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Okay. Would checking it on TV or your phone be easier for you or better for you?
Probably my phone just because I have it with me all the time.
Okay. And how often do you feel like you could check the weather on your phone during the week?
I could probably check it every morning.
Every morning? Okay. All right. So I'm going to write that down on your homework sheet here that you're going to check the phone every morning or check the weather on your phone every morning. Um, and one thing I want to do on your homework sheet, you'll see that you'll have kind of a box that it has the days of the week on it, and you'll
Okay.
just put a check by that day of the week that you've checked your phone, and then you'll see a scale up top of like a 1 to 5. 1 meaning you're not anxious at all, and 5 that you're really really anxious, with a 3 being middle anxious. And the box beside the check, after you check your phone, I want you to write a number on the scale of how anxious or stressed out you are over the weather that day.
Okay,
Is,
I can do that.
is that so? You think you can do that? Could you do that every day for homework as well when you check the weather?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, that sounds great. Um, so you're going to rate yourself as far as your stress and anxiety goes when you check the weather. Um,
Okay.
so So to kind of just summarize what we've done here today, we've kind of set the agenda for today and future meetings that you want to address. How you feel during storms and even how you feel when storms aren't around. You want to address sleeping and being scared at home. Um, and today we addressed being scared of storms while you're at home a little bit, and we've also talked about your diagnosis of PTSD and you losing your home last year to the hurricane.
Yeah.
What is there anything else that you want to discuss, or any feedback that you want to give about today's session?
I think the session was helpful today and it gave me some ideas of things that I hadn't thought of doing. So I really appreciate that.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate you coming in today. And again, you will just do the homework of checking the weather each day and then giving yourself a rating on that anxiety stress scale. And we'll discuss it when you come back in next week. Does that sound good?
Okay, that sounds great.
All right. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.